Hello and welcome to the next video of my World's 2024 preview series where we're going to cover Gen.G. Second place in the LCK, losing to HLE yesterday. Just gonna get this out of the way right away. Double elim implemented by Riot is an absolute joke. Cannot emphasize that enough. I do it every single time this happens, where a team beats a team that goes to the loser bracket and then comes back up and then beats the team that beat them and sent them to the loser bracket. So it's 1-1 out of 2 and actually should have a reset. Every argument that I've seen that goes against that thought and believes that the double elim in its current state is superior to that of a reset can be then usually flipped into an argument for single elimination, whether it's cost cutting or competitiveness or things of that nature. I think this is an absolute travesty. But regardless, neither here nor there. Gen.G did lose to HLE on one random day, and that's because that's why this is the way it is. Gen.G, in my opinion, still have the best roster in the world. But it's between them and BLG probably for the title of best team in 2024, unless a team like HLE wins Worlds, then we'll have another conversation. Last result for this team last year, they finished in quarterfinals. Different roster, majority of that roster actually currently on HLE. So in top lane we have Kiin. Kiin, one of the best top laners of all time, easily in the top 10. And also probably is in the top 5 in the world right now. I know last time we discussed that, a lot of people got upset that I didn't have Kiin in my top 5. But 2.1 KDA, 7.2 CS per minute, 63.5 KP. He's pretty much become the third tier carry, fourth tier carry on this team, depending on draft. And that is in part why the team is struggling. I believe the top side is their strongest aspect. And they're playing towards bot lane way too much. 1.28 return on investment, which is damage divided by gold. 18% of the team's damage coming from 19% of the gold. That's going to happen when he's playing weak side and he's playing more tanky champions. Kayasante, I believe, was the only champion he played more than once. 2.95 vision efficiency. That is vision score divided by wards placed. In terms of laning, he's behind about 278 gold and 44 XP on average. 9 of these 12 games were into Doran. Keep that in mind. Doran is world class, and Kiin and him were going back and forth. 3 solo kills, 7 champions, 12 games. Internationally, Kiin is 22-15 in his career. 1.9 KDA, a 72.8 KP. Very active internationally. Over his career, Kiin is, that's a crazy high KP for a top laner in any sample size, let alone international sample size. 8 CS per minute, 1.3 damage divided by gold, 2 Worlds appearances in 2018 and 2023 out in quarters. Jungler, we have Canyon. Canyon, in my opinion, is the best jungler of all time. I always say this every time we mention Canyon or Kanavi. It's 1A, 1B, but Canyon has played exceptionally well in his carry role. His champion pool throughout summer, very carry-oriented. However, in playoffs, there's a heavy emphasis on Skarner jungle. And if you look at Skarner jungle the last several patches, that's not a thing. So this is a weird situation for Gen.G. And also another reason why I think they're just approaching it the wrong way. I don't know if they're glorified scrimming this because seeding really doesn't matter all that much when you get to Swiss stage. Actually, they were locked into Worlds, right? Just thought about that. So they were locked in regardless because they're MSI champs. So this was glorified scrims, essentially. Why not play Skarner? Because people like to I think when a team's already locked into the big tournaments, what does a domestic title really mean when you're trying to focus on the big prize, anyways? So 3.8 KDA, 5.8 CS per minute, 72.8 KP. Very high kill participation. Not the highest on the team though, and we will discuss that. But is making things happen, facilitating things, which the reason why they had so much success in summer was because he was a carry. 1.12 return on investment, 15% of the team's damage, 18% of the gold. 3.46 vision efficiency. On average, behind 40 gold, 4 CS, 99 XP. He did play Peanut in 9 of the 12 games. Played only 4 champions. Internationally, Canyon is 82 and 34. 3.3 KDA, 68.8 KP, 6.1 CS per minute, about the same amount of damage as gold. Is a world champion. Only world champion on this team, winning in 2020. Second place in 2021. 19 and 22 would be out in quarters, and 2023 with D plus Kia did not get out of Swiss stage. Chovy, best player in the world, second best player in the world, best mid in the world for sure. Very heavy resource. Last year we saw Gen.G in their best form, playing towards bot side, giving Peyz a lot of help. That meta really allowed for that to happen. That was just the nature of it. This meta actually fits Chovy strongly. Just feed him resources. He is the highest resource player on the team and thus is dealing the most damage. He is the carry. 3.9 KDA, 10.6 CS per minute. Compare that to a guy like Frescowy. I always use Frescowy because his CS per minute is very low. So there's a 18 CS difference at 10 minutes between those two players. That's a lot of gold, just on average in their given regions. Average in their given regions, Chovy's getting that much resources, that much farm relative to how much Frescowy was getting. 65% KP, that makes sense. He's farming. He's not necessarily fighting as much, but did deal a team-leading 1.71 return on investment and 32% of this team's damage. 1/4 of the gold. Highest vision efficiency, so he is the best player as far as warding is concerned. 4 vision score per ward. On average, though, and this is interesting, right? So up 10 CS and 425 XP, but only 37 gold. So in the end, his farming lead is not making a difference. 9 of the 12 games against Zeka, which is world-class player. So that's the thing, right? So you have this CS lead, but nothing's coming from it. And in the end, that means that your CS lead is not... I mean, if your opposition's finding gold elsewhere, then it doesn't really matter in the end. So definitely something to think about. 4 solo kills, 5 champions, 12 games. Internationally, Chovy is 57 and 36. 3.5 KDA, 60 KP, 9.3 CS per minute. 1.38 damage divided by gold. Over Chovy's career, he definitely has had memes made about him and things like that about his inability to resist farm, resist resources, and that's what makes at least the past AD mid meta so great, is that it actually players that played that way benefit from that because they like farm to begin with. So I guess this Worlds, if the AD meta sticks around, if the nerfs aren't strong enough and the teams continue to play them, that would just benefit Chovy. Worlds 2022 out in semis, 19, 20, 21, and 23 out in quarters. AD carry is Peyz, one of the best in the world. In my opinion, I've said this since the start, I believe when it's all said and done, Peyz is going to be in the conversation for best AD carry of all time. Already an MSI champion at a very young age, one of the youngest in his role in the world, and still is putting up big numbers. And yes, yesterday against Viper, who is the best AD carry in the world, he was beaten. And in the end, he beat him the week before. So Peyz is, the fact that that's even like going back and forth says more about Peyz than does about Viper, in my opinion. 7.4 KDA, 9.8 CS per minute in a team leading 78.5 KP. Team leading. So the team is fighting around Peyz. We said this about Cheaton yesterday for Pain Gaming. And this is interesting because you don't see a lot of teams this way. A lot of teams, just it's kind of like 60s and 70s across the board. Maybe we can identify team fighting characteristics versus maybe, more of a split push look, BLG, for example. But this team fighting around each other and Peyz being the guy in the vast majority of things. 3 out of every 4 to 4 out of every 5 kills. It's very high kill participation. Out of an 80 carry, 1.63 return on investment, 29% of the damage because he's so involved, 24.5% of the gold. So he is the number 2 carry on the team, just slightly, but it's still something to look at. 2.6 vision score divided by wards. Now we're going to combine the 15-minute diffies. So just we'll wait until after I talk about Lehends to go over that, because when you combine these, it gives a very different look than just citing Peyz. 2 solo kills, 7 champions, 12 games. Internationally, Peyz is 26 and 14, 4.2 KDA, 70.6 KP, 8.9 CS per minute. Sentimeta playing a big role in that. 1.37 damage divided by gold, and only 1 Worlds appearance last year going to quarters, which is fine because he literally was, I think he was still a child, to be quite frank about it. Lehends, support, one of the best in the world. I can't say it about every player on this team because that's just the case. 1.8 KDA, he's the one going in and dying. 73 KP, very involved. 0.54 return on investment. I've been saying this in most of the videos when it comes to this stat. A lot of people don't think it matters that much because it's a support role. But this gives us a look at the type of support Lehends is. He's not dealing a lot of damage. He's more of a supportive support. Traditional support. You look at you look at others, 0.9, even 1 return on investment. Damage per gold, 1 for 1, is a bigger difference than half. Right now, of course, Lehends is probably healing. He's probably playing, he's frontlining, clearly, his KDA. So we just factor these things in. We get an idea of what the player is without even, I watch Lehends, but you can just look at these numbers and kind of figure out what is going on. 1.65 vision score divided by wards placed. Now, when we combine the 15-minute diffies, this is what we get. They're ahead about 350 gold, but down 5 CS, and ahead like 60 XP. So, like I said about Chovy, but it was opposite, right? So Chovy be ahead in CS, but gold pretty much even. These guys ahead in gold, but behind in CS. Against Viper Delight, 9 of 12 games. And I think the other 3 were aiming in Moham. So, tough matchups. Very tough matchups, and these guys are coming out ahead because when you think about it, Viper Delight and Peyz Lehends, those are 2 of the top 5 bot lane duos in the world easily. Just absolutely easily, some of the best. So, that was an elite matchup. To be able to see that matchup 9 games makes us lucky, in my opinion. 6 champions, 12 games for Lehends. Internationally, he's 35 and 20, 2.3 KDA, 71.7 KP. Worlds 2022 would be out in semis, and 19 and 23 out in quarters. In terms of coach, Kim is the head coach. Kim is a world champion head coach. He's 33 and 12 internationally. He won Worlds in 2018 with IG. That roster being the roster with Duke, the Shy, Ning, Rookie, Jackie Love, Balan. He also would finish in quarters in 2017 and 2019. So, a great resume. A few years back, though, think about this. He hasn't been to Worlds since 2019. And it's not like he disappeared. He was coaching teams in that time period. So, something to think about also. That he's come back. And, Rookie was struggling for years and years, and Coach Kim comes in and they finally win. And keep in mind, they did not win that summer split. RNG did beat them in the playoffs. So, it's not like that team came in as the number 1 seed from China. So, is it impossible for us not to see a repeat, but Chovy finally hoist that trophy? It'll be interesting because, I'm sure Rookie was much maligned at the time as well for his inability to get the job done back then. So, that is a thing. This team definitely has a chance to win the tournament. It's in the conversation for best team all year round. When we look at it in general, who is the best team of 2024 in LOL esports, Gen.G are going to be in that conversation until the end. So yeah, so thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.